Scott from Mito Red Light is back. Today I actually sat down with Scott in person in his office in Arizona, USA. I traveled there. I managed to have a play with some of his products, but more importantly, I had a really good conversation with him. So in this interview, we talk about a lot of his new products. I mean, he's got a heap. If you haven't been over to the Mito Red Light website recently, go check it out. You've got everything from hair products to brain products to pet products to large panels, small panels. It's kind of crazy. So we look at all of these cool new things, the backstory, cool features, all of that good stuff. We talk about the industry. I share some of my own personal insights and experiences with all things red light therapy. We look at the future of the company, where things are going. It's a really good conversation. So let's just get into it. So Scott, it's great to be here in person here in Arizona. I mean, I've just had a quick tour around the facilities. I've seen all the products that you have been working on, have discontinued, have thrown out, have damaged. And it's been, I don't know, a year or two since we spoke online. Since then, you have released a lot of new products. I'm super keen to learn a bit about, we'll just dive into some of those products because some of them I haven't seen yet. And also hear what you've been working on and what's about to be released later in the year. So welcome again, and yeah, over to you. What's new? What's changed?
Well, a lot. I mean, well, first of all, welcome to Arizona, man. And like, it is such a, I just want to start off by saying this on camera. It is such a pleasure to meet you in person finally. You know, I mean, I've known you for, gosh, 5 years or so now. So time flies. And I really thank you for all that you've done, not just to help Mito Red improve, but just to help the industry as a whole improve. You know, I think again, I've said this to you off camera, but you know, what you do and what you offer is very unique. And, you know, I certainly have learned from you, and I appreciate what you're doing. So thank you, and, you know, welcome, man. It is really, truly a pleasure to have you and to meet you in person finally. Because it's been a long time in the making. I think, you know, we were talking about it, and COVID happened, and then all sorts of stuff happened. And so it's been a long time coming. But as you mentioned, you know, it has been a long time, so much has changed, right? I think then, in kind of what my ethos is as a company is to continually innovate and improve. And we're a red light therapy company at our core, but at the end of the day, we're a wellness company, and we want to help people live better lives, live better, healthier lives, so that they, you know, the way I think about it is, you know, how do you have a positive impact on the world? Well, if you help people even just a little bit, feel a little bit better, have a little bit more energy, and then those people can go out and engage in the world and do something positive, you can create this massive tidal wave of positive impact, right? I mean, but it all starts with your health, right? If you don't have energy, like you can't, if you don't feel good, if you're sick, like how are you going to go out and do great things, right? So that's kind of like where I start. And then obviously red light therapy is our core. Red and near infrared light between 600 and 900 nanometers is kind of our core competency, and we play in there. But as we evolve as a company, as I evolve as a CEO and as a person, our company evolves, and we will branch out into new things, and we'll take on new challenges, right? And so I come from the point of trying to enrich my customers' experience. So mostly what we're focused on now is if you're using red light, you know, how can you, enrich that experience? And that's kind of, that is the foundation of our product development pipeline. Especially when we branch out into new things, like some of the stuff I brought out here to kind of talk about. And some of the stuff is in prototype mode, and some of it might not even make it to market. Some of it is on market, but I don't know if you have a specific place you'd like to start. But what I'm most excited about is our two topical products that we designed, because it's been well over a year in the making. You know, we have a skin serum and a hair serum or hair mist that we're bringing to market soon. And I think I sent you some hair mist in one of the first batches, but some of it leaked out while it was making its way to New Zealand.
It wasn't a nice bottle like this.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was in some plastic bottle with a bunch of numbers written on it. And I'm super excited about that. That product, you know, I mean, red light Red lasers have been used for hair growth for a long time, and the science is actually very well established. And so there are a lot of good products on the market. We have a couple of helmets, a laser and LED helmet and a laser helmet that we launched, I think, after we last spoke. And I think you've been playing around with one of them. And but you know, like what can we do to enhance the benefits and potentially, you know, improve the outcomes? And so I have a really good friend who's been researching hair loss for 25 years. And he actually started the largest natural hair regrowth discussion forum on the internet. And so I reached out to him and I said, Brian, can you help me? You know, I have this helmet and I've been using it, and you know, I'm slowly, you know, getting a little bit better, but you know, I'd like to offer my customers something that, you know, could hopefully enhance the benefits. And so he rolled up his sleeves and he put together that formula. And then we had to engage with chemists in order to, that's my hydrogen bottle, in order to kind of fine tune it. But we finally perfected the formula and we're launching it next month. Actually, I think it goes into production next week. It's been over a year in the making. And there are a lot of ingredients in it, and so I won't even try to rattle them off. I mean, but my favorite probably is the peppermint oil, because it. I don't know if you noticed this, but you get this nice kind of like cooling sensation, and it just feels nice. Like I actually really enjoy spraying it on and just getting that kind of. And maybe it's because I live in Arizona. I don't know, but that cooling sensation at the top of my head. And Brian's like, yeah, that's what you want. It's kind of part of it because it increases the blood flow. I mean, so much of it's about just improving blood flow. It's just an important part of healing, right? So if you're curious, you know, check out our website. I mean, we're filming this in mid-May, but by June, it should be available, and certainly open to feedback. I think we'll be seeding some of that to our the customers that already bought helmets. I think we're gonna go ahead and gift a lot of these out just to get the feedback. It's like, hey, you've been using the helmet for a couple of months. Why don't you try adding this in, type thing. But I'm excited about it because, again, anything we can do, again, our ethos is anything we can do to improve the red light experience, we're going to do. That was like project 1, and it took over a year. And then project 2 is right next to it. That would be the skin serum. Also has taken well over a year. And kind of where, it's an even longer story, but where we were coming from with that was, you know, so many of our customers use a panel like this on their face for skin benefits, you know, reduce fine lines and wrinkles, and improve firmness, you know, reduce hyperpigmentation. These are all the kind of the outcomes that are hoped for. And so I sat down and I asked my team, I said, if we were going to design a skin serum that could optimize the benefits of red light, what would that look like? That was the question I asked. And this is our answer after a year of trying to figure it out. And part of the kind of the origin story for this is we did a product study with another company. I don't know, I think I've told you about this, because several years ago I came across a study where they used green tea bags. So they steeped green tea bags, and then they put them on the crow's feet of the participants in the study, and then they used red light. So there was the green tea was, you know, present in the skin at the time they were using red light, and then versus a control group where they didn't use the green tea. And the group that they used the green tea beforehand had much better outcomes. I mean, it was actually, some of the before and afters were just incredible. Like, he's somebody that just had really, really pronounced crow's feet, and then they were almost gone. And I was just blown away by that study. And then, so that drove us to do our own product study in Poland, where at this time we hadn't developed our own serum. So we partnered with another company who had a green rooibos tea serum. So it's very similar, high antioxidant capacity. And that product study also showed really good benefits. So that study had 2 arms, one that did red light only, and one that did the serum beforehand and then the red light. And that arm study, just across all metrics, had better outcomes. So and that was really that product was more or less one ingredient. I mean, I think it had aloe, and then it had the green rooibos. And really what we think is happening is that the antioxidants in the serum are kind of buffering the reactive oxygen species that's created when you do red light, and so you kind of get more of a net benefit. That's what we think is happening. But you know, there are other things you can put into a serum that might also complement the red light. And so that's the question that we tried to answer is like, what else can we put in here over and above antioxidants? So this thing is chock full of antioxidants. I mean, there's astaxanthin, which you're probably familiar with. There's vitamin C, like a certain form of vitamin C, magnesium ascorbyl palmitate, I believe it is. There's vitamin E, you know, so a lot of there's acai, a lot of these like powerful antioxidant compounds, and then and green tea. So we didn't leave green tea out because that was the kind of the origin for it. But then we've also included peptides, right? So these signaling molecules. So you think about like, how does red light work? Well, I mean, you know, it hits the mitochondria, and the cells have more energy to do their job. You boost collagen production, and then you want to negate maybe some of the oxidative stress of some of the antioxidants. But now you add in some peptides, which are signaling molecules, and they're signaling to the cells to make more collagen and elastin. And then we add in some amino acids, which are the building blocks. So super excited about this, and really, really hopeful that once we get it out into the hands of red light users, that they get even more benefit from red light, right? Because, you know, I think part of how we're going to move the industry forward is just by having more and more evangelists out there that are like, you know, red light's amazing. And so what we should be trying to do is be thinking about how, you know, what can we do to improve outcomes, period.
The skin serum, how do you use it? Do you use it right before a red light therapy session or afterwards, or does it not matter?
I would suggest before. Again, the one product study, so the two data points that I have, like the original study and then the product study, was both using it before. And again, it was kind of, I think the thought process there is to have the antioxidants present in the skin, so that when there is oxidative stress created, it's there, it's already there. Having said that, you know, maybe if we did a study and we did it after, like for some unforeseen or reason that I don't understand, we might have better outcomes. I don't know. But personally, I'm using it before.
And then can you use it with any of your products or any red light therapy product?
Yeah, if it gives, you can just use it as a standalone too, but it was designed with red light in mind, yeah. Right? But yes, any red light doesn't have to be ours. I mean, if you got a mask, or if you got another tabletop panel or full body panel from another company, I would, you know, humbly ask that you try it and you let me know how it goes. And
will you be shipping that internationally?
Oh yes, absolutely,
yeah, really,
absolutely, okay. Yeah. So this is the peptides. There's a long lead time on the peptides; they're hard to get. So that's well, there's a lot of peptides in this, and so some of them are hard to get. And if you read the names on these things, I mean, it's crazy. I won't even try to pronounce it. So that's going to go into production probably in early June. And so we hope to launch it like by July at the latest.
Right. Okay, cool. Oh, well, that's exciting. And
I will tell you, it's been a lot of work, man. Yeah. Like this is like Gen 8.
Oh, wow.
And you know, cause there's so many problems you have to solve for that you just, and I'm not a skin serum. This is, another thing I'll say is, you know, we're not a skin serum company, and so somebody might say, well, what do you know about skin serums? Well, first of all, I worked with very, very talented chemists and researchers to do it. But secondly, we refine this, and, you know, we're not trying to sell you a lotion or a cleanser or, you know, this, that, and other. I think these skincare companies, like, they just create all these products and then try to create the demand for them. We just try to jam everything in here in meaningful quantities. This is the one skin product we're ever going to do. Trust me on that, because it was heck for a year. And so many things you have to solve for. I mean, even just the smell, right? You don't want it to smell, but you don't want it to really have fragrance necessarily, but you don't want it to not smell good, right? So, and then some of these things, the way you mix them together, doesn't smell that good. Or the viscosity, like a couple of our early versions, it left a little bit of a tack on the hands, you know, and I was like, yeah, that's not a good experience, you know. And then even the color, originally the color was clear, and that's why we got the astaxanthin in there and the vitamin E. because even just there's so much to just the experience, and even like the visual, how it looks, I think is part of the experience of using something. And I wanted some pigment. I didn't want it to be clear. And actually, I'm glad that actually I had that objection, because the astaxanthin is a good addition in my opinion. There's gone through a lot of iterations, and all of these, and then obviously stability testing and all of these things that they do, shelf life testing and all this. But I'm super excited, and I've been using it personally now for a couple months, and I really enjoy it.
How will you sell that? Will it be a standalone product? Will it be a bundle, subscription?
I'm thinking all of the above, actually. I think, if somebody wants to try it, certainly they can buy it standalone. I do think if somebody is interested in a panel and we can bundle it together and save them money, and we'll have some sort of, probably have skincare bundles with the tabletop panels, and then subscription model. Sure, I'm on the fence about subscription model, because the subscription model is more of a business thing, and I feel that honestly, in my personal opinion, subscription is that it can be a bad customer experience, like, because why do businesses have a subscription model? Because they're hoping that you forget to unsubscribe, and then they bill you when you wouldn't have. You buy something that you might not have bought, and to me that's bad customer experience. Like, if you really want it, then now at the same time, maybe you do want it every 2 months and you don't want to think about it, and you don't mind a discount. So on that side of it, on the subscription model, I have mixed feelings about it, because to me, our ethos is we want the optimized customer experience. And I know that on the subscription model, personally, like, I have subscription running, like the Wall Street Journal, I haven't canceled in like a year, and I haven't read the damn thing. I just haven't gotten around to cancel it. It's $20 a month, and it's just, they're taken from me. Sorry, Wall Street Journal, but, so that's my one reservation, but we'll offer it. But at the same time, if somebody accidentally orders, like, we will absolutely cancel it for you, like, no problem, right?
I think the fact that you're going to have options, like, it's the businesses that just have subscription, or a ridiculously high one-off price.
Right.
So you're kind of silly not to go onto subscription, and then like you said, you forget about it. But I think you're coming at it with the right approach, like giving people options, and whatever's going to be best for them, right? Hey, that's really exciting. I didn't expect the first 10 minutes of our interview on red light therapy to be about skincare products. I have very little experience with skin serums, like, full stop. However, I recently interviewed SolarWave, Andrew Silverstein from SolarWave, and I know they have a product as well. So it's kind of exciting that we're seeing these complementary products now hitting the market to, like you said, enhance the benefits of red light therapy. Exciting to see in a year's time, for instance, where you're at, like whether you've upgraded it again, or like, doubling down on that, what customer feedback's like. So very, very cool. What else do we have up here? Because I know you've mentioned...
I put a lot of toys on the table here, just to be a subject of conversation.
I mean, what's this?
So
I don't know what this is.
This is a prototype. So this is, I guess tentatively named the Mito Cairo. So it's actually a neck pillow, or a neck wedge, I guess. And so kind of so I was approached by a chiropractor about a year ago, and he said, I want to build a neck pillow and put red light in it. Can you help me? And so the original kind of version of that, I don't know if you've seen these neck pillows, so, they just kind of lean back. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And so I read a lot about it, and apparently a lot of people buy these neck pillows, and I'd never heard of it, actually. But it totally makes sense. I mean, so many people are sitting at a desk all day, kind of hunched over, or, they're looking at their smartphone, like this. And so there's like an epidemic of just really bad posture and really bad kind of upper spine curvature. And it's an issue, right? And so, and I, even personally, I mean, I always have tension in my neck and shoulders, just, so it's even a battle for me. And he told me that, he'd read a lot of studies on red light and orthodontics. So, and how when they combine orthodontics with red light, that the outcomes are better. So like the teeth move faster, there's less pain and inflammation. They could just get better outcomes overall, right? And so his thought is, well, if it works for orthodontics, like why wouldn't it work for your spine, right? So, and then, so the original kind of prototype was just like a pillow with kind of a fabric LEDs on top. And I was like, it's not really going to cut it. It's not powerful enough. And we were having trouble doing it cost effectively. So like or we'd have to sell it for a few $100. And I'm like, who's going to buy a neck pillow for a few $100, right? So then we pivoted and we came up with this because, so this is actually, I mean, this is pretty hard. And again, it's a prototype, but this is transparent PVC and transparent silicone. But there's a drawer, and you take the a portable red light device out, right? So now you can lay on this for 10 minutes and adjust your spine and get the red light on your spine while you're doing it. And it does, I mean, obviously there's a slight warmth that you feel, and you kind of settle into it much easier because it can be a little uncomfortable at first because we're just not used to doing that, right? But at the same time, you also have a portable red light device, so you can use it in your face. You can use it on your elbow, use it on your foot, take it with you when you travel. So it's not just a neck pillow, right? And so we'll sell this at a reasonable cost. I'm still figuring that out because we're about to go into production. But it'll be about what you would buy just alone anyway, in terms of cost. But you'll have the benefit of the chiropractic benefit. So I'm super excited about this. We did file for a patent on it. We'll see how that goes. But it's more about like, hey, there's a problem here. There's a problem that can be solved here, and how can we solve it? And it's a big problem. I mean, just about everybody these days has got really bad neck issues and neck posture. And so, I think being able to do the 10 minutes a day that they say to kind of restore the proper curvature and to be able to augment that with red light is pretty cool. And then also, I think a lot of times what I've been doing is I go lay in the bed. So I lay in the bed, but then I lay on the neck wedge and put this in there. So because I'm laying down for 10 minutes anyway, so I'm also adjusting my neck and getting the red light on my neck while I'm doing it. So excited about this. This should launch hopefully like July. And then we're going to a chiropractic show in August to kind of debut it there. So it'll be interesting to see the feedback we get from customers and the chiropractors.
Yeah. Does this block much of the light?
It doesn't, man. Oh. It's crazy. Like and you can measure this yourself and tell me if you disagree, but when I measured it with the Hoppo or Hoppo, I don't know how you pronounce it. I couldn't measure any attenuation.
Wow.
Like zero. And I was shocked because I'm like, there has to be some. I mean, I understand it's clear, but I couldn't measure any attenuation, and it's you're only a couple inches away. So it's quite strong. I mean, that was part of the R&D is like, is it going to be powerful enough? And I believe that it is.
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but I need to do this. If you're enjoying this, can you hit the like button? And if you want to see more interviews like this, I have actually done a lot, so you can check out the playlist after this interview. But be sure to subscribe because I do have more interviews coming up. What about this? Is this just another?
No, that's another prototype. So this is and this isn't even close to being coming to market, but this is I think what we're affectionately calling the Christmas tree or the Christmas light.
It's very bright.
So narrowband green light. So this is again where we're trying to keep up with the research and understand how we might be able to use light to help people. And so there are a couple of really interesting studies on narrowband green light and migraines. So you may have seen these products. I mean, it's 520 nanometer green, and so I said, but and so these products are out on the market where you can buy a green light, and these are some travel products like this. And I said, well, why just have green? I mean, obviously, if you have, I do think that there's benefit. And actually, I had a headache, very strangely. Like I very rarely get headaches, but it was like 6 months ago I got a headache, and I actually had a green light and I used it, and it actually helped me. So I do think there's something there, but it's such a narrow use case, right? And so like, why not, if you're going to build something, put red and near infrared there, and so you can use the red and near infrared on a daily basis. But if you happen to have a migraine, and then there's a mode there where you can just use the green. And then it would be interesting to see if you use, let's say, the green and the infrared, if that helped better or something like that, right? I don't know if that's the case, total speculation. So, this is a prototype. I have to, this is very early stages. I mean, this will not be the final of it, but this is kind of the direction we want to go. And if we can figure out a way to improve on what's out there or solve more problems for people, then that's what we'll try to do.
Do you have any plans to bring other wavelengths into your panels? Like when I say other, I mean, I know you've now got amber, but what about green or blue, for instance?
Probably not. I think like this is a very this is the exception to my 590 to 900 nanometer rule. And again, it's for a very specific reason. 520 nanometer green and migraines. You can close your eyes. I mean, some of them, the migraine lights, they're very weak, and they say to actually look at it, and then it's just like, when I want a headache, I want to close my eyes, right? So I want to close my eyes and then shine it through the eyelids. So it's a very, very narrow use case and a very specific use case. Blue light, I think if at some point, potentially, if we did come out with a mask, because I know there's a big demand for the masks, and we've played around with that, the idea of doing a mask, like, again, specific use case for blue light and acne, right? So so in a mask, I could see it. I don't see any reason to put it into a panel, honestly. And just the safety profile of 600 to 900 nanometers is just so well established. And some of these blue light, or even getting above 1,000 nanometers, where it gets, in my opinion, in kind of a thermal range, that's where I have pause. Although another prototype that isn't here is something that might be geared a little bit more toward weight loss, and we have to be careful about claims. So we don't make any claims per se, but 1060, 1070 nanometers is used in dermatology offices for weight loss. And so we're building a prototype belt that would contain that wavelength, and then we might do some case studies to see if it helps with fat loss. I mean, I know some people use our belts, and we have a functional medicine practitioner who uses our quad belt. He's here in Scottsdale. He uses the quad belt with semaglutide for fat loss, and he's telling me he's getting great results. How much of that's from the belt, how much is from the semaglutide, I don't know, but he's just telling me it's doing great, or his marketing person anyway is telling me it's doing great. So so there's something there on the weight loss front. So, and I think those longer wavelengths, those 1070 slightly thermal wavelengths, are an interesting place to experiment for that. So that is another product in the works, but that is very early stage too.
Will that be like really high intensity, the weight loss belt? Like, is it, or is the secret sauce the wavelength?
Well, I think with anything, it's both, right? I mean, this, like, you want to be at the right intensity for the right duration at the end right wavelength. I mean, all of those three things have to be dialed in. So, what I can tell you is that a lot of the studies on weight loss that were done that even used just red light weren't particularly powerful. So I don't know that it necessarily needs to be that powerful. I do think that, so if I were going to use it for weight loss, and I'm not a doctor, I don't give medical advice, I get my disclaimer in here every time, I would personally do it fasted in the morning, and then I would use red light on my abdomen, and then I would exercise immediately after. That's what I would do.
Yeah, we took a look at the fat loss science. It's all over on the Light Therapy Insiders website, and I know I tried to do a summary video, and what I found is there were two ways you could do it, two mechanisms of action, so to speak. One of them was using very, very intense light therapy, 1,000 milliwatt, like watts,
like literally like melting the fat.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And like one of the risks and downsides, it was burning, discomfort, and I'm like, man, like, no thanks, that's not me. But that was one way you could do it, and it worked. Like, the research was solid. The other way, was using, I can't remember off the top of my head what wavelengths they were using, and you're right, it wasn't super intense, but it was interesting. Like, one particular study I found, it was like what it was doing was liberating the fat cells into the bloodstream, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they
I don't think it's actually liberating the fat cells. It's actually the fat cells themselves leak.
sorry, that's
And
yes, you're right.
they get porous, and then there's some of the
Yes.
fatty acids leak out.
Yeah, no, you
And then that's why I would
fatty
say
acids.
exercise afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Like,
No, you're right. Sorry, I stand corrected there. Yeah, that's what was happening. But then they couldn't conclude this or not in this particular paper. But the thought process was, well, if that doesn't get utilized, it just gets restored
yes.
as fat. So it's and the frustrating thing is the study didn't like do a controlled for calories. You know, like it didn't truly control it. Like, because it would have been really interesting. So then my thought was, okay, this could work, but you have to do something with it. It's like exercise, like you said, but it's also could be really good for spot treating. Like if you just had,
Yes.
you know, a stubborn fat somewhere.
I mean, you're gonna hope that it gets disproportionately deposited
Yeah.
back somewhere else. You know.
Yeah, I mean, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and like,
it's something that yeah, again, I mean, there's so much with this technology that we don't know, but there's hope and potential and promise there, right? So yeah, definitely interested to see what happens with your product there. And of course, once people are using it. There's a few more things up here. Are they for display or?
oh gosh, I don't know where you want to go next. I mean, we this is actually our first foray out of, well, I guess the skin serum and the hair mist are out of kind of the lighting area, but you know, I did so much. I've known about hydrogen water for years now, and I've been. I mean, I used to get those tablets, and I don't know how much you know about hydrogen water, but back when I was first getting the tablets, like you had to drop them in there and drink it right away because the gas, like an off gas, and then they solved for that problem. Then you were able to get tablets where you could drop the tablets in, and it didn't dissipate right away, so you didn't have to. Some pressure gets built up, and the more I read about it, the more I'm convinced that it's just a good thing to add into your routine. So you know, I have mixed feelings about it because our core competency is red light, but at the same time, you know, if you're in front of your red light and you can drink some healthy hydrogen water, and if there's any potential synergies of those things, and I'm a user, and I'm super proud of this product, and we just got the another round of testing back, and it's super potent. I mean, the 10 minutes. I mean, a lot of these. I would suggest if you're gonna get hydrogen, that please make sure that they test the actual parts per billion properly, not with the drops or any of these like $10 meters you can get. Like you have to send it to a lab to be properly tested. And then they also need to test for chlorine because so a lot of the poorly made ones, you know, they actually create chlorine. Really? So we just got our test back. I mean, it's over 5,000 parts per billion in a 10-minute run, and close to 7,000 if you ran it for 20 minutes. And so that's like super potent. And it's not something where I don't think you want to drink it all day long, but I have just a couple of those a day, like usually one in the morning when I wake up, and then one sometime during the day. And then I just have regular water throughout the day.
You could have added like some red or near-infrared.
That is the next iteration. Yes. We absolutely should, and shame on us for not doing that, right? Like, because it would be, you know, more on brand, right?
Yeah.
Like having at least a red color, a red, orange, maybe like cycle back and forth type thing. So,
well, because you're familiar with like structured water, easy water.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that literally.
Well, sometimes that's what I do. I will actually put on a small red light, and I'll just, while it's doing that, I will hit it with the red light.
You just need to incorporate it all into one. I mean,
that's a good. Well, I don't know how strong it needs to be or how many wavelengths, but it's actually a great idea. Yeah. If you could build it into the bottle and have it be enough power.
Well, I mean, you've already got. There's an LED obviously down there.
Yeah,
it's got the color. I mean,
but it's probably like a tiny little chip.
I mean, surely it could be done. Anyway, watch this space.
All right, yeah, that'll be fun. I'm gonna add that to my list. I also have figuring out a shower light is also on my list.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
That's just been on my list. It never makes it to the top, but I do think, like, again, you're in the shower every day,
totally,
and so it would be, if we could build something that could actually put out good power, like, I think it would do well.
Yeah, I mean, that's
safe.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, I've been thinking of, I mean, when you first started, I mean, it's an obvious place to use it. I mean, you're in the shower for
you don't want to have any clothes on anyway, right? Like,
yeah, I
and
mean,
you're there.
the whole family. Like, I've looking forward. I mean, you hear people say, look, in 5-10 years time, every home will have a red light therapy device, right? Is every home going to have a large wall panel? Is every home going to have a bed? Definitely not. Panel, maybe. They're going to have mats, pods, but it's like, I can see that happening, like every shower just has that panel somehow built in, yeah, that's, I mean, even myself, like, so I personally, in my current routine, I use my panels prior to training. It's just part of my ritual.
Do you notice any difference? A part of your ritual.
There we go. Yeah. And, yeah, totally. I mean, I've been doing it for so long now. It's literally my thing. Like, I set my pre-workout, I plan my workout, a log and everything like that. But the point I was getting at was, if I'm injured or not training for whatever reason, I don't do red light because that's how they, and that's fine. So typically I train 5 days a week, so I do 5 sessions a week with the red light. But sometimes I don't train, and then I've got to go out and not force myself. That's the wrong term, but I've got to go out and do my red light hit. And often I think I'm like, if it was just like in the shower or something. I mean, seriously, because I shower every day. Anyway, that's cool. That's I think.
Well, I will get to it at some point, but there are some challenges there, as you know. So
I can imagine. I look forward to that product though. What else we got here? Is this intranasal?
So that is an intranasal. So again, so anything we can do to potentially enhance, the effects. So
do them as well.
Yeah, so it basically just clips like this, and these probably look very small compared to my large schnoz, but it's very simple. I mean, you just shoot it, and obviously the idea is shoot it up the nose. The idea is to bypass the skull in delivering light to the brain, right? So, and this we chose 1070 nanometers to see, well, just to get feedback basically, because our helmet's 810. I mean, the two brain health wavelengths are 810 and 1070. I mean, those are the ones that are commonly used right now. And our helmet's already 810. So I mindfully decided to try 1070 here. And again, the longer wavelength should make it deeper.
Yeah.
So it'd be, so we just launched this. I mean, it's very reasonable. We package it with the helmet.
All right.
It is funny to kind of I mean, you've seen our area, and we all live and breathe this stuff around here, and it is so funny. I mean, every time that Cam's sitting at his desk over here working, and I see him with his Mito Mind on, and now with these up his nose, I mean, you get a chuckle out of it. Right? It's kind of silly looking, but we all do the stuff. I mean, I've got my hair helmet on a lot because I need the help there, and then. But we're excited about that because we do think, it's good to be able to do the entire head, but we have the pesky skull on the way, and so being able to kind of bypass that, we think could be a good idea.
Yeah, and that's nothing new. I mean, that's been around for a while. I mean, V-Lite obviously have the intranasal devices. I'm currently experimenting with one.
Oh, I noticed that in your bag, actually. I saw the V-Lite box.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, so I actually did like a QEEG analysis, and I'm going to do like a 4 or 5 month before and after.
Awesome.
I mean, I was told that it may not show any changes. So I also went in, just because well, I'll cover it all in the review when I get to it. But I've also done a bunch of cognitive testing beforehand, like paid to do these exams and whatnot. Memory, reaction.
So, and are you just using the V-Line?
Yeah.
Or are you using like the Neuronic helmet, or do you have our helmet?
Yeah, I do have a helmet. I haven't used that yet. But I'm just using the V-Lite Duo. I alternate between alpha and gamma because it's got the pulsing. With the intranasal 808, I think it is. Yeah, and I do that a couple times a week. I mean, you know me, like I like quantifying my reviews. I like trying to, it's very easy to put it on and say, wow, I feel amazing on it. I'm like, do I really? Placebo effect. And to be honest, even this experiment, like there's so many variables in life. You know, what happens if I move countries, which could be happening in that time? You know, like
yeah, there are a lot of confounding variables.
I know,
like,
but still, I want to do.
But
my
at least
best.
you're trying. Like you know, again, that's what I say. Like what you do is so unique and valuable because you actually try to at least do these N=1 experiments and quantify it. You know, I mean, it's one data point, but we just need a lot more people to do that, right?
I mean, the good thing is with their, not to distract from your company, but their stuff, like we know it works. There's a ton of research on with their products. We know the wavelengths, you know, the radiance levels. We know that's already solid. Their products are now solid. I mean, they just got the tick of approval from Health Canada.
I saw that.
It's a big thing, and yeah, like there's people using it for Alzheimer's, all sorts of cool stuff. So that's why bringing it back to your device, it's not like this is some gimmick. Oh, let's try this. This will be fun. Like it's credible. It's legit.
And totally agree with you. And you know, not for nothing, but thank you to the V-Light people for blazing the trail there. Like, you know, I don't know them personally, but they seem like very sophisticated and scientists and engineers. And you know, I come from the standpoint like we're all just doing our best to move the industry forward and to just help people be healthier. And so, thank you to them. You know, like and you know, like they're chipping away. I mean, you know, again, getting Health Canada approved and something like that. So that's a big deal. Right? So, you know, we're doing our small part too. I mean, those I donated 100 of those units, and we're doing a study on long COVID. So, I mean, that study is, I mean, it hasn't even started yet. We're just recruiting participants, but, you know, we will do what we can to give back and to fund research and or donate units. I mean, we did a study with Northwestern, and it was on thrombosis. I actually had to custom make Mito mids because they didn't want the infrared. They only wanted the red, but they wanted the Mito mid 2.0 height, right? And again, they shine the light on the back of the legs of the participants for thrombosis, and they did a study, and it had very favorable results. So they got an NIH grant for another study. So that was with a gentleman by the name of Shapiro, Dr. Shapiro at Northwestern, I believe. Very nice guy. So you know, and I actually invite those opportunities. I mean, is anybody out there that is doing research and needs help, either with you know, donated devices or even funding, please reach out to us. I mean, we want to support that because at the end of the day, you know, just as we move this industry forward together, everybody benefits, right?
Yeah, no, it's really, really cool. So just going back to the intranasal device, did you say that only ships bundled with the helmet?
Oh no, you can purchase it by itself. Yeah.
And is that available at the moment?
I think we just launched it.
Oh wow.
I have to double check with the web guys. I'm pretty sure we just launched it because I know that usually the way that it works is I use it myself for a certain period of time before we offer it because that's just how I am. Like those helmets we had for 6 months before we actually. I decided to actually bring them to market, and if I didn't see any benefit, they probably still wouldn't have been brought. So I just wanted to use it and make sure that I was comfortable using it because it actually takes a little getting used to. It clips on your nose. It's not the most comfortable thing, but I got used to it, and I was like, okay, I think we can. I think this is good, ready for prime time as it was. So
how much will that sell for? Do you know?
It's $295.
Yeah, right. And it's 1070, you said, in both. Yeah, that's interesting.
And if you bundle it with the helmet, it's only $200.
The helmet being the Mito
Mind. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So tell me a bit more about that, because yes, I do have it. Yeah. What do I need to know about that? What does everyone else need to know about that?
Well, it's a helmet and it goes on your head. It has 256 810 nanometer LEDs. So you can illuminate the entire head. And I worked with I got feedback from a functional neurologist here in Scottsdale to kind of come up with the programs. I mean, they're custom programs, but they're just meant to mimic brainwaves. You know, so there's different settings for
pulsing rates. Are they
pulsing rates? Right. Yeah, for and intensities. Because you know, if you're in, let's say you want a more relaxed state, you probably don't want as strong in intensity, you know, and then but it's also customizable. So if you wanted to do 40 hertz at 100% intensity. Like I know V-Light's 40 hertz gamma. You can do that. And you know, it's not a huge product for us, but the brain health, I had a scientist in 2019 from Australia contact me and just absolutely insist that I create a brain helmet.
Really?
And friend, this is going way back, and she was a legit scientist. I don't remember her name, and she's like, you know, the world needs this, and you know, and she was just yelling at me that I needed to do it, and I was like, lady, I'm trying to sell panels here, like I'm just getting started, like you know, you know, I'm still figuring things out, you know, and but that I never forget that phone call. I mean, this is back when I was personally taking customer service phone calls. I mean, this is going way back, right? So, and I was like, you know, I get, you know, it's, you know, this, look, there's a lot of neurodegenerative problems right now. And that's what she was trying to tell me. And she's like, it's a big problem. And, you know, somebody's got to step up and try to do something. So anyway, I just remembering that conversation and stood in the back of my mind. And so, and then we were able to do the hair helmets. And so that was kind of a stepping stone. And I was like, you know, we can do a brain helmet. It's just, you know, it's a different, just different wavelength. And then, but the programming is actually what's unique about it, being able to have different pulse rates and just make it simple. So there's 6 presets. And even though I did try to make it simple, we do get a lot of questions on it in terms of like how to do it. I mean, really it's just put it on and press the button, but you know, it's, you know, it's being used for brain health, and I get that. So we're actually trying to see if we can coordinate with some PhD researchers in the field to do some consultations for the people that buy it, so that they can get better guidance from actual scientists, you know. And so that's kind of in the works. But I use it. I know Cam uses it because I see it on his head every day when I come walking through here. And I alternate between the Mind and the hair helmet. I go back and forth. So, and I will tell you anecdotally, this is kind of a silly story, but I play video games occasionally. I mean, I'm almost 50 years old. I play video games. I'm almost embarrassed to admit that. But I play with my son. You know, my son's 10, sorry. And so sometimes I use the Mito Mind, and I put it on high beta to try and focus. You know, when I'm in these kind of like these, I play this game called Fortnite. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's you know, he can log in at home and I can log in here while I'm at the office, and we can play in the same squad. You know, so it's father-son bonding over the internet in a video game. And so, but the kids are so much better than I am, right? So I need every advantage I can get. So I put on the Mito Mind, I put it on high beta, and I can tell you that if I do it for more than 15 minutes, I actually start to get anxious because it's high beta, right? So it's like, it's actually kind of stimulating. And the first time I did it, I was like, nah, you know, maybe it was just a rough game and I got killed again way too easily or whatever. But I did it a couple times and I'm like, nope, I'm not imagining it. Like I actually feel anxious. So, you know, but I tend to kind of overdo things, and, you know, I'm playing like this long game and I'm competitive. So I keep putting it back on, and I'm like, I got to stay focused. And then I was like, you know what, actually, I don't need to do any more than 10 or 15 minutes of this. I'm good, you know? But, so anyways, it's an anecdote that, you know, I was actually having a noticeable emotional effect from it. So
with the intensity of that Mito Mind, again, I'm sorry, I haven't tested the one you sent me. Do you know what the output is? I mean,
it's not, it's actually modest. You know, it's 30 or 40 milliwatts. Oh, really? At the surface. That's
right? A lot more than I expected.
Yeah, it's not.
The reason I say that is because,
well, you know, our panels, you know, some of these panels now are getting up to 100 at 6 inches. You know,
okay,
like,
but the reason I say that is I've tested and reviewed the Neuronic device, and theirs was
20.
I don't even know if it was that. I have to check the review. It was quite low. Maybe it was 10.
Interesting.
10
well,
in my head. So that's why,
there's a wide band. I mean, you have you can increase or lower the intensity quite a bit. So. Right. I don't know if perhaps I mean, I have to watch a video, but if you measure at max intensity,
it was a while ago. But yeah, I mean, it was in my review. You can watch the review. I'm pretty much saying like, is this enough to penetrate into the brain? Because it was surprisingly low.
Well, so That's yeah. So I remember. But here's the interesting thing: like you don't need a lot, right? Because it's the brain, because it doesn't get a lot of light. So you don't need a lot of light to get there to move the needle. It's not like the skin, you know? Or even the muscles.
But like you still need it.
You still need to reach it
through it first. And I get that. It's the whole.
All right, but I remember your James Carroll video. Where, you know, he's like we think, you know, we say red light doesn't penetrate, and then, you know, but then we find out like, you know, he's going everywhere. He's going everywhere, and it's reflecting and reflecting and all the things. So,
it's just interesting. I just wasn't too sure if it was the same as in Neuronic or a bit more powerful. But again, I'll be able to find out when I do my reviews, and I'll do a side by side.
And I may be misremembering. I mean, and I should know this, all of this, like the back of my hand. But we have like 60 SKUs now, so I'm starting to lose track. But I do my best. But I may be misremembering. But I do know that we talk to folks, and we feel that it's quite safe when used as directed. Yeah, certainly.
You know, when I get back home, I'll test it, and I'll have the numbers. Because I know V-Light put out a lot more than Neuronic, and that's one of their selling points. Like, look, we're putting out enough power to get deep into the brain. Have you seen the video I did where I test the light penetration through the bone?
I have. Actually.
Yeah. I mean, it was a bit. I don't know how accurate it was, but it was a bit of fun. But it was surprising, like, how much was getting through, because that was a decent chunk of bone there.
It's amazing, right?
Yeah, so really, really cool. All right, so we've still got a few things left on here.
I think this is just our new flagship panel, so I just wanted to have it in the shot. So it's our Mito Pro X. So super excited about it. The initial feedback's been great. But, you know, I would say, you know, you've done a thorough review on it. It was part of your thing.
But I haven't seen this. Oh, this is cool. It spins. I haven't seen the stand.
Yeah, I like the stand. I mean, it's very like robust, right? So some of our other stands were kind of plastic.
Yeah, well, this is new, right? This is a new stand.
Yeah, and so I like it. I mean, I like the aesthetic of it too.
Yeah, I agree. It's really, really nice. And do you know what else I like about it? It's the same color tone.
Same color. I know. I've heard that before, and I've heard it from my wife as well.
It's little things like that.
I know. Well, these are all areas for improvement. I mean, problems are treasures. So I take the feedback, and we'll work on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple. It's nice. Good job. How much is the stand? Do you know? Or does it come bundled?
It comes with it.
It comes with it. Yeah. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, and then so this is this.
So yeah, I wanted to talk about this because this is another area where I am excited about what we're working on. So this is it's just a desk lamp, and this is just 630 3-nanometer desk lamp. So this is not anything groundbreaking, other than the fact that I realized that I needed this because in my own house, I had a lamp on my nightstand with a nice lampshade on it, but it never had a bulb in it, and it was just for decoration. It was just for decoration because we don't use like bright white lights at night.
Right.
And so I actually had these book lights that I have clipped all over my house that are like amber or red, and then I just carry around, or I just clip, I clip on the bathroom mirror, or clip on my bedpost. And I was like, I don't even have a desk lamp or a nightstand lamp that I would use. And so we went out and kind of brought this one to market. So this is super simple, but I'm more excited about the light that I'm working on, which I was giving you a little bit of insight into earlier, which is a biorhythmic lamp. So it'll be like a desk lamp, like a task lamp. It's going to come up. I envision it coming up behind a computer screen and shining down on where you work, and it will change the composition of the wavelengths of light will change depending on what time of day it is.
That's cool.
Right, and this is what we need. I mean, I think, look, what is part of the story of red and near-infrared light? Part of the story is we're inside all day, and we're not getting these beneficial wavelengths of light like our ancestors did, because they're outside in the sun all day. And so we're just deficient. But also part of it is that not only are we deficient, but we're getting rained down on by these by a very unnatural composition of wavelengths, right? So most LED lights are which, you know, and potentially even these here, I'd have to get the Hoppo and measure, but they're actually blue LEDs. And so it's a blue LED, and then typically there's a blue LED, and then there's a blue LED with what they call a yellow phosphor, like a yellow coating that creates green light. And so you see a peak with your spectrometer, you'll see a peak at blue, and then you'll see kind of a lower peak and more of a gradual hill at around green. And you'll get a little bit of orange, like kind of toward the tail end, but very little red, and actually no cyan, actually, right? So the band between blue and green, because it drops. And so that's very unnatural, right? Because full spectrum light, you're getting every wavelength. So I'm working on a biorhythmic lamp where the first step, you can do it with blue LEDs as part of it, but the first thing you need to do for true melanopic lighting, is what they call it, is you have to add back in the cyan, right? Because it's missing. So you add back in the cyan, and then what we're experimenting with is maybe adding in a little bit more red, and maybe adding in some near infrared, right? Because like, why wouldn't you? Because so actually, I think I mentioned that to you earlier, and your initial response was like, why would you put near infrared? It's like, that's your natural response. Like, it's a task lamp. Why are you putting invisible light? And I'm like, because it's not about lighting what you're working on. It's about adding back in what you're not getting because you're not outside. All right. And so, you know, we can do just a little bit. And I think, so I'm super excited about it. Like, that's kind of my, like, we just started that project because it's, I had to really kind of educate myself on, like, what I had to work with, you know, and even how the blue LEDs work. What we perceive as a white LED is really just a blue LED and a blue LED with a yellow coating. And that's, our brain perceives that as white. But I don't know about you, but when I look at those, sure, it's white, but it feels wrong. You know what I mean? It doesn't really feel like the right kind of white, because it's not. And then we want to have those compositions. So first thing we want to do is kind of get the LEDs in there that we need to get the different combinations that we want. And then we want to have that change throughout the day. So it mimics kind of, you know, sunrise to sunset. So obviously in the early morning or early evening, it's going to be predominantly red and orange hues, right? And then, but midday, you actually want the blue, and you want the cyan, and you want the green. So I'm super excited about that. I think the world needs this, and I actually can't believe that it's not. There are people working on it, but it needs to be like mainstream, because this light that we're hitting ourselves with every day is terrible. It's such junk light, right? Talk about junk food, and this is junk light. And so we need to do better.
Yeah, very cool. So then, real quick, with the bedside lamp, that's just purely a lamp.
It's purely red, and it's just basically like, yeah, it's not meant to be therapeutic. I mean,
wow.
maybe you find it relaxing.
Yeah.
But it's really just meant to, like, not jack up your sleep, because this is like the end of the day, the sun is set, but you need some lighting. I mean, yeah, you can light a candle like that, like we used to, or, you know, I can give you a red LED and there's no blue or green light in there. And it is very soothing and surprisingly bright, actually. Like, I don't have any problem. I have a pretty big bedroom, and I don't have any problem, like, seeing it all. So, but that's the use case for that. But the biorhythmic light that I'm building has a, like, much wider application, and hopefully, you know, will be able to be used at any time of the day. Yeah. Right. And used as a task lamp even during the day.
Do you did I ever tell you the story about how I only used candles for like a month or two?
No, I've never heard the story, but I want to hear it.
14 years ago. It was a very long time ago. We were in an apartment with my Rebecca, now my wife. Yeah, when I first started learning about all this health, wellness, circadian biology stuff, and yeah, I went all out. I think it was like winter time, so it got dark reasonably early. And we covered all of our windows because we're in a city, so we wanted no street lights coming in. No light pollution. Exactly. I think we didn't even use our phones. This is like a while back. We weren't as like tied to our phones like we are now. And yeah, when the sun went down, we were only allowed using candles in our apartment. It was just my wife and I, 1-bedroom apartment. I even removed the bulb from our oven and our fridge. So like there was nothing, right? I taped over. We didn't use TVs. We went no artificial light technology. Any little LED that was glowing, we taped it over, and we did it. I know it was a month. It may have actually been longer, and I was curious to see
how your sleep improved.
What would happen, right? And
no fires, I'm hoping. Like
no,
okay.
But oh my god, I can see why there were so many fires back then. Because you'd knock over, because you don't have much light, and you'd knock over these candles and candle wax on carpet. Oh my god!
Good luck getting it out.
Oh gosh, and that happened more than once. It was very frustrating. But it was amazing. Yeah. Yes, our sleep, both of our sleep, my wife and I, Rebecca's and I sleep improved. I mean, mine was pretty good. Hers wasn't. Like she had a pretty bad patch of sleep around then, which I think was part of the reason I wanted to do it. But it was amazing. We were going to bed earlier because you're like, what else do you do?
Right. Yeah.
It's like when you get a power outage, it's like, oh, let's go to bed. But I had time. I actually set up a business during this time. I planned it all out. Blue blockers. It was like blue blocking glasses. I mean, I was telling you a bit of the story the other night. Like, you had time, you had ideas, and I used to handwrite my notes because I wasn't using my phone or laptop. But I found like we also had a lot of time. Like you just relaxed.
It is interesting to think about how people lived 150 years ago. How different it is now.
So different.
You actually maybe write a letter to somebody, or maybe journal.
Yeah, it's the time
to actually create things, right?
Well, that's it.
And now we're just constantly distracted.
You're stimulated all the time. Yeah.
So it's a good thing to do. I think, I don't know what your lessons learned are, but for me, it's just a good thing to do, even if you just do it intermittently.
Yeah.
Maybe try to do it
one night a month.
One night a month or something.
Yeah.
And so,
it's like when you have a power cut. We moved into a place in New Zealand, and there were a lot of power outages early on. But since then, we've put solars and batteries. So, to make it easy. And I mean, we have kids now and stuff as well, so I want the power in there. But yeah, it was an interesting experiment. I think I wrote a blog article on it. I'll have to dig it up. But yeah, just when you mentioned the candles in the evenings, I was like, yeah, been there, done that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, you don't have to do the candles anymore. You can just get one of these, and no fire risk or anything. I mean, you can take it around like it's. I really like it because the other reason I really like this is we're strange people, and I actually turn the power off to my bedroom at night.
Yeah.
And so there's no electric field bathing us while we're sleeping, and so having a battery operated light comes in handy.
Yeah, we did the same with one of the GeoVital cutoff switches.
Yeah,
so, yeah, pretty cool. I know we've covered a lot of products, but you've also got products coming out for pets and animals. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's more. Gosh, we have so much that we're working on. So we launched a pets pad. This is kind of my wife's passion project because she loves animals, and it's essentially similar to a belt, but it's just designed where there's no wires, in case like a pet gets hungry and decides to chew it, so it doesn't plug in. It works on a battery, and the pets seem to gravitate toward it. My cat, I think my wife was saying to you earlier. That picture of the cat on the pad, I mean, that's my cat, and he loves just walking up to the thing. Whenever you turn it on, he just walks up and kind of sits on it and hangs out. So, and we would do it kind of like why we went down that path is we would hear that story all the time, like somebody using our light, and then their animal just comes and hangs out, with their owner. Like it's like, hey, maybe the animals are onto something. Maybe they're just more in tune with what they need, and they're kind of gravitating toward it. And then horses is another thing. I mean, we've been working on that for over a year, trying to design a blanket that could go on a horse, and trying to also do it where it's battery powered, so you don't have to worry about needing an outlet.
Yeah.
And again, that's been over a year in the making, and we keep building prototypes. And the first prototype we brought out and put it on the horse, and then hay is getting stuck to the fabric, and it's like, oh, that's not a good fabric to use. All right, we need a different fabric. And then we build another one, and it's, that one, the way it drapes over the front's not good. So then, so we're on our 6th prototype, but we're close.
Yeah.
We're close. And super happy with the last one that we put together. And I think that we have something really cool. And, you know, I mean, any pet owners, horse owners, they love their animals. And look, you know, they deserve it, you know, and we deserve it and we need it because we're not outside. And the same goes true for many of our pets and animals, and they can benefit from it. So we're super excited about that. I think the equine blanket is very close. And we'll see. I mean, I don't really know that much about horses personally. You know, I grew up in New York City, like in a suburb, so I didn't know anybody that owned horses. But now we live in Arizona, and there's a lot of horse owners around, so we're getting to kind of get feedback directly from them. And we think we're very close to having a very cool product.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. It's actually an area I haven't covered yet, but like you, I've heard a lot of stories, you know, how dogs, cats, attracted to the lights, and how people have just been using their personal products on animals. So it's very, very cool. I also have a question. When we last spoke a year or two ago, I think you just released your Mito Adapt series, was it, with the app, and you know, you track your sessions, and the idea was you were going to get a bunch of data and, you know, hopefully be able to draw some conclusions. Have you crunched any of the numbers on that yet? Do you have any updates on that, or is there any insights?
I honestly, I do not. You know, I know that we are gathering the data. I think and to be perfectly transparent, I would say the adoption of the app usage has probably been a little bit lower than I would have hoped. You know, because at the end of the day, you don't have to use the app to control the device, and so you can use the control panel. And then we did build in kind of like special modes, like interval mode and sunrise mode, that you can only do through the app. And that's not because we're trying to force people into the app, but that's because you know, you need to send a set of commands, you know, and so you can only program that in the app. You know, we don't have that you know, post device in your home capability to tell the device how to do these things. But we did try to build those modes to try and incentivize people to use the app. And so the data set isn't as big as I would have hoped.
Right.
And then again, transparently, like, dude, I mean, I'm busy, right? And so I got all this stuff, and I just haven't got around to it. Like, I think I did ask my developer to dump the data, and I was going to try to like do some spreadsheet jockeying and see what I could see, but I haven't done it yet.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of your new products, but the panels tend to be my thing, I guess, my go-to. Are there can you reveal anything new about upcoming panels? Any insights there?
Well, we just launched a Mito Pro X, and so again, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy and proud of kind of our product portfolio, right? So, you know, now we've got 4 different panel series. The original 2.0, which is very basic, 660, 850, very easy to use. And then the Pro Plus, which has got a remote and it's got 4 wavelengths. And then the Adapt, which has 11 modes. And then the Pro X, which, you know, we added 590 and the touch screen and the alarm function. And I think just, I really like the aesthetic of those. Like, I think they look nice. Like, so I'm proud of our portfolio, and I think that we're offering a lot of different options. And that's kind of the goal, you know. It's like, if you're interested in this, let's have a conversation, and we'll find a solution for you. Now, having said that, like, Pro X just launched, and I haven't really thought about what's next, other than we did decide to, you know, add pulsing into the Pro X and the Adapt. So that's one of those things. I've evolved with respect to pulsing so just like with Flickr. While I'm not of the opinion that it's an issue necessarily, if our customers think that it might be an issue, then I should just solve the problem, right? And so, same thing with pulsing. I think the data is not super strong, but there are a few studies that show 10 hertz pulsing in particular potentially having an enhanced benefit, and it's a very easy thing to add into the device. So I just decided to add it, right? So that's coming. So that's a change that you know, we haven't historically had pulsing. And it'd just be near infrared only at 10 hertz. For the Pro X and the Adapt, actually. And so that'll be the Adapt 3.0.
Right.
So that's coming, right? Because that's a new, that's not kind of technically a new version of the adapter.
Yeah.
Now beyond that, I don't know. I'm open to ideas. You know, like what can we do next? I think right now we've got a great product portfolio, but certainly we don't ever rest around here. So
yeah,
at some point when I'm done with kind of this next suite of things that we're launching, I'll be thinking about that.
yeah. I mean, have you seen Rodeo's panel with I've got the inbuilt modes? Have you seen that?
Yeah, so that was actually the vision with the Adapt, right? That I would actually be able to get data and say, hey, according to data, this is what you should do for sleep, and let's call this sleep mode. And so the problem is that I just, similar to the pulsing, I have reservations about that we even know the right answer.
Yeah.
You know, and if that's, or if we're just making stuff up.
Yep.
And so
that's a fair point. Yeah.
That's the direction we want to move in, obviously, but we want it to be data driven.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something I address in the review. I'm like, I think as a feature, it is amazing, the inbuilt modes. But I'm like, I can't figure out the dosing recommendations. I've spoken to some researchers and they still have like wide ranges in terms of irradiances and that.
Okay. So I'm not familiar with is it just dosing or is it also like wavelength suggestion?
Wavelength.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean,
so now you got multiple variables, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying that's, you know, it's.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they are, the radio company, you know, they're taking a good punt at, you know, trying to figure it out. But
by the way, I don't know the company and I have no, I had thought about trying to do the same thing. So like, I think I applaud them for trying, but I just think that it's really, really hard.
Of course.
And you know, and I don't feel strongly enough that there's a good enough data set out there to do that. And that's why we didn't decide to do that.
Yeah. And that's understandable. Especially when you have people getting such good results anyway. It's like, do you even need to go down that path? But I do think it is a nice step, like evolution in the industry, because I think it will open up, you know, more ideas. I mean, I've been saying this for ages in my reviews, like, if only you could do this. I mean, I say it to my team, like, sometimes I'm like, I don't know, I get sunburn, or other times I'm using it for pre-workout, and I'm like, I kind of wish I knew how I should be using it for this particular purpose, you know, like.
Okay, well, for sunburn, I can give you a suggestion. I would say you got to use it like 4 to 18 hours before you're going to be in the sun.
Oh, right. What happens if you have been sunburnt? Like,
I don't know. Like,
yeah. So,
just use it after. But I mean, it's meant to be. I mean, there's just some good studies on it. We're actually writing an article on this. Like, you know, you can build your solar callus, right? I mean, this is nature designed us to be out in the sun early morning so that we don't burn midday, right? And so, really, you should be out when your shadow is longer than you a lot, getting those infrared rays, and then when the UV hits you, you're ready.
Yeah. Right.
And you're much less likely to burn. You can kind of hack that a little bit with red and near infrared light, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it's hard for most people to go. If they're planning on going to the beach at 1 o'clock, it's hard for them also to go outside for an hour or two, like 9, 10 o'clock.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, unless you're living on the beach and it's a weekend, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Like, there's a lot of players in the panel space now, so I'm sure there's, I don't want to say they're becoming a commodity product, but, you know, companies are needing new features or an edge, to, you know, stand out. I mean, obviously you have brand awareness, and this is something that you know, Mito Red Light has done very well, and you've been in the space for a long time. You're doing good things with your customers. I mean, the customer feedback, from what I see, is always positive. The products are good, so that's great. But, you know, these newcomers entering the market, they need to come up with something innovative and novel. So it's quite fascinating, especially in my position. It's like, oh, look at this.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I as well.
Like, and just see the growth. You know, I think your original panel series was 5 companies. Yeah. And then you did 12, and then you did 17. You know, and I don't know if next time you'll do 24, but I think it's fantastic. Like, this is one of the positives of capitalism, like that we have competition, and that we have to go out and compete and have the best product, best service, best warranty, best customer experience, all of those things. And at the end of the day, we all benefit from that. So and also the industry as a whole grows, and we get better and better products.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And like I said, it's exciting because the customer has choice. You know, you got options, and there's change. Because if it was just 2 or 3 companies, yeah, I mean,
that would stifle innovation.
Yeah, and I mean, you just look at some of the old timers and how they haven't really changed. And I've already mentioned a bunch of names, so why not me? Maybe I should be a bit careful, actually. But yeah, I mean, it's good, like, move forward, pushing forward, coming up with new features rather than just staying with the status quo and just saying everyone else is silly type thing. I don't know, but
yeah, and at the end of the day, put it out there and let the market speak too. You know, like we create new things. I mean, we've discontinued things because, you know, we listen to our customers, right? And so like and that's a very important part of like what we try to do here is listen to our customers and actually act on what they say. That's why we got rid of the flicker. That's why we're adding in the pulsing, because if our customers are telling us, then we're going to listen. Yeah,
no, that's good. I can see the overheating icon has come on. Wait,
okay.
So I think it's a good time to wrap it up. But
well, I think it was a very fantastic conversation, my friend. So,
yeah, it was
thank
good.
you for that.
It was good. Yeah, you're doing some cool things, coming up with some neat products. I also wanted to touch on, I wish I mentioned this earlier, but yeah, I like how you're doing a lot with the researchers and the scientists and stuff. You know, I think that's really cool. Like, yeah, you look at the research, you look at the science, you're already speaking to experts, but then when you get the product, you're then getting it out there to, you know, give feedback on it, like scientific feedback. And I think that's really, really cool. You know, and that flows through in the brand and, you know, just in all aspects. Because yeah, you don't want to just be coming up with something that's a gimmick and just pushing it hard, you know, just to sell product, right? You want to help people, right? You want to get something that's actually going to work. Like, otherwise, what's the point? So
yeah, I have to believe in it. You know, I mean, there's been plenty of times where, you know, there were product development opportunities, but if I don't believe in it, I can't do it. I mean, I have to. Obviously, we have many, many products, and so I don't personally use all of them, but I would use any of them. It's kind of the point, right? Yeah. And so, and that's really like the litmus test, right? Like, would I use it? And if I would, then okay, we'll bring it to market.
Yeah, very good. All right. Well, before I wrap up, where can people find more about Mito Red Light, yourself? Where can they get these products? And is there anything else that you want to mention before we switch off, or before my camera turns off automatically?
Well, mitoredlight.com, MITO. Redlight.com. That's our website. I mean, that's we've got a massive blog. Super proud of that. It's just got tens and tens of thousands of words of information about photobiomodulation. So if you're curious, you read our blog, and, you know, you can give us a call. We have customer service. If you have any questions, info@mitoredlight.com is our email. And as far as anything left to say, man, I again, just, it's been fantastic to hang out with you the past couple of days. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you and everything you've done and continue to do. And just, you know, if there's anything I could do to support you or, you know, your viewers, let me know.
Cool. Well, thank you. Until next time. Hopefully it's not 2-3 years again. We'll try to make it maybe an annual event.
Maybe I'll come to Dubai.
Yeah, or New Zealand. Who knows where I'll be. We can meet somewhere else. We'll meet in South Africa and mix it up. All right. And that is a wrap. What did you think? Keen to hear your thoughts. Links to Mito Red Light are down below. Of course, I do have a discount code and a discount link for all of their products. So check all of that out down below. If you are interested in buying from Mito Red Light but want to get some feedback from others who have gone before, head over to the Facebook group, because I do have a survey in there for anyone that has placed an order with Mito Red Light, and they leave their thoughts and a ranking on their experiences. So have a look at that. Also, I've got a behind the scenes tour video of the Mito Red Light offices. That's quite interesting. You might enjoy that. There's heaps of amazing stuff coming out. So yeah, be sure to hang around for those videos. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Bye.